Everyone wants happiness and success, and we know how to get you there. Come listen to the Leadership Society of Arizona as we teach a proven logic to help you simplify life, overcome challenges, and predict the future. You're listening to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. Hey, welcome to the Logic and Life Coaching Podcast. My name is Chuck Zulanas, and I'm joined by our special guest, Dr. Jacob Kashiwagi.
Hi, Chuck.
Hello. Thank you once again for taking some time out of your day. I know you got a busy schedule, and just talk. So today I wanted to cover off on the benefit of having a routine. And the reason I ask this is because I know your routine is crazy. You get up at 3 a.m. and you go to bed at 9 p.m., right? And you're pretty standard with that. And so I'm curious on the benefits of doing a routine like this, particularly because I'm not an early person. Early morning person, or I used to wake up that early, not 3 a.m., but 6 a.m. For high school, right? But then as soon as I got to college, I just threw that out, wasn't really interested in it. And even when we used to play racquetball together, that was so hard for me, so hard to wake up. So I guess it can be a tandem of benefits of getting up early and benefits of just having a routine.
Okay. Well, where do we begin? There's so many benefits of it, but if I can simplify it down, a routine is important, or it's been identified by many successful people that having a routine is very important. And the reason being is because when you're trying to be successful in life, it's all about efficiency. There's two parts in life. There's a physical and there's a mental. If you want to be successful, you have to be able to have the physical strength, endurance, health to be able to do whatever the mental work you need to do, right? If you're always getting sick, then you're wasting a lot of time. If you have to sleep more than required, you're wasting time. If you can't be awake and alert and have your full mind capacity the whole day and you're drowsy, then you're wasting time and effort, right? And so now it becomes, well, what is the most efficient thing we can do so the body can last the longest, sleep the least, have the least issues? And if you also want to throw in happiness with the success, the least amount of pain, right? The most amount of energy. What can we do so the physical is maximized so that we can do the most amount of mental work? So let's start with the physical benefits, right? First off, routine maximizes efficiency of the body because it does a couple of things. One, the body is into routines. It functions the best when it does the same things every day. So for example, sleeping. You sleep the same time every day, the body will get the most amount of sleep in that time, meaning you can sleep less and get the same amount of energy because it gets into a rhythm, right? So when you have a good routine that you're doing the same things every day, it becomes very efficient. Because one, if you're doing it every single day, you become really, really good at it. Second, if you're doing the same things every day, the body remembers it. And so the body doesn't take as much energy, doesn't take as much effort to do the same amount of things. So for example, if you're really, really weak, and then you want to gain a lot of muscle and be really strong, the body in order to change from being weak to strong, it takes a lot of effort. But if you are the same strength level and you don't need to gain or lose, then the body doesn't take a lot to keep at a certain level. So if you start out strong and you don't want to get stronger and you don't want to get weaker, but you just want to stay at that same strength level, the body takes very little effort to maintain it. So someone who wants to keep their same strength level, starts out strong, wants to just stay strong, they exert a lot less effort than someone who's really weak and is trying to get strong. Right?
Yeah.
And the effort to change that takes a lot. So every time you make a change, or every time you're making a change with your body, it takes a lot of time. That's very inefficient. So if you can keep a routine going, that you're eating the same things every day, the body digests these things a lot easier. Of course, you need to eat healthy things, right? If you want to keep the body healthy. But if you get into a good routine of eating healthy things, you get into a good sleeping routine, you get into a good exercise routine, you get into a good routine where the body knows, I'm going to exert a lot of energy here, I'm going to be able to relax here. The body remembers everything you do. So the more you can stick to this routine, the more efficient the body is. The more energy the body has, the less energy the body takes to just function. And it allows you now to put all of your energy towards doing whatever you want to do to become successful. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it does.
Now, here's the other thing, is that if you're in a good routine, it means you're doing certain things every single day. People who can focus on one thing for a very long period of time every single day, they get really, really good at it. Really good at it. So if you can do that and you get really, really good at something, then you actually, the ability to monetize on something that you're like the best at, because you'll be the best if you do it every single day, it's a lot greater than if you're like doing one thing one day, one thing another day, and you never really develop a real talent for anything. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So routines are very important. Now, let's talk about sleeping, and let's talk about waking up early. The body has a natural rhythm to things. And if you watch a lot of sleep experts, if you're going to maximize your sleeping efficiency, meaning sleep the least but get the most out of it, people's body naturally from 10 to 2 o'clock, so 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the morning, if you sleep during these times, you get the maximum amount of sleep benefit. If you're asleep by 10, wake up by 2. I mean, not wake up by 2, but and is still sleeping by 2.
Yeah.
Yes. I'm thinking about my schedule.
It's 4 hours, man.
So, in 4 hours, you can technically get better sleep and more rest, and your body can rejuvenate more in those 4 hours if you're sleeping at that time than if maybe you decided you're going to go to sleep at 2 o'clock in the morning and wake up at like 8 o'clock, which is even longer period of time, right? But you're not getting the good sleep that you need. The times around 10 to 2, those are the best times, right? So I'm looking at it, and everyone's different. But the other thing to keep in mind is we have learned throughout history of time that successful people, those who wake up early and go to bed early, they just seem to be happier. It's just how it is. It's a rule of success that many successful and happy people have always kept. Part of it is because who's awake at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning? Only people who are really dedicated to life. Only people who are really going to be working hard. Now, Waking up by 3, 4 o'clock in the morning is very different than staying awake all night and being awake at 3 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Very different. Okay. But wake up early, go to bed early. That's always been a good rule of thumb. You're going to reshape your whole life if you do it. The people that you'll meet are totally different because you're doing things at different times of the day now. Usually people who wake up early in the morning, they go work out in the morning as well. I meet some of the best people at the 2 gyms I go to. I trade off because I play racquetball and then I go to another gym that's really nice. So, you know, I trade off with these 2, but the people I meet there, all really good people. In fact, those times in the morning, if I forget something, the chances that someone tries to steal it, very low. Very low. On the other hand, if I go later in the morning or I go in the evening, that's when most people are going. Chances of me getting something stolen if I leave it in the gym without a lock, very, very much higher. So you're going to change who you meet when you change how, you know, when you go to bed, when you wake up. You're going to change when you do things in your life, right? Your eating will be different, which will be better. You'll eat earlier. You'll stop eating earlier, which you'll find out in health benefits is really good for you. Not only that, it's when you wake up early, then you're more likely to do more active things in the morning, which is a good thing. The body is meant to do activity early and then to rest and do more mental work as you get later in the day, right? And so there's having this waking up early, going to bed early is actually a really good thing in terms of efficiency for your body, in terms of how much energy you have, in terms of wiping out a lot of the toxins that build up in your body even. The chemical like balance of your body, I'm not an expert at it, but it just so happens that that routine actually maximizes when you're supposed to have certain chemicals in your body and when you're not. I don't know how, but it just does.
So I'm hearing this and I'm thinking to myself, there's like this voice in my head that's like, you still don't want to get up early.
True. I mean, you got to remember the first thing I said is the reason you develop routines is because the body doesn't change very quickly. I always remind people, I was not always an early riser, right? You're looking at, it took me till I was about 22 years old to stop going to bed like at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and go to bed by 10 o'clock in the evening and wake up by 5 or 6 o'clock in the morning. And I thought that was really early. And so 22, I started to say, I need to start going to bed earlier, wake up earlier. It took me 5 years. It took me over 5 years for my body to adjust to that. Many days saying you don't want to wake up early. You're so tired. Many days. It took me 2, 3 years where my father worked at the university. I was going through my bachelor's degree. And it took me 2 to 3 years of every day I had to take a nap because I was trying to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I would go like around 12 o'clock, 12 p.m. in the afternoon, and I'd go and sleep in my dad's office. For 2.5 years, I had to do that. I had to take a nap in the day because my body just wasn't used to it. And you got to look at this. Most people, they start trying to do it for, maybe a month, and they're like, I'm just not a morning person. No one is naturally a early riser person. It has to be built in, and it takes a long time. So if you're only trying to do it for a year or 2 years, you might not even get there by then.
Okay.
It took me 5 years.
Jacob, you're telling me that you need someone else I mean, it sounds like the only feasible way in which I can actually accomplish what you're asking is if I have someone else that is already a morning person that I tag along with. And
Well,
even then, I'm still going to have to take a nap during the day because my mental capabilities aren't going to be as great. And of course, my kids like to stay up late. So I still got to deal with that. So I'm thinking to myself, well, early morning's not for me. Maybe a routine's for me, but
well,
but
look,
just focus on what I can do. I mean,
look, Chuck, you're just asking me about the the benefits of being an early riser and having a routine here. I'm not saying that everyone can do it. In fact, once you get married and you have kids, your ability to change your normal habits, you better, even if you're not married and you're single, it takes so much dedication, so much belief in this is going to really, really benefit me down the road. I mean, it took me 5 years to be able to wake up at 5 o'clock, go to bed at 10 o'clock. Then it took me another 5 to 10 years to be able to move that time to 4. And then it's only been within the last year that I've been waking up 2 to 3 o'clock in the morning, going to bed like around, not 9. I try and get to bed around 8, to be honest with you. If I could get to bed by 7:30 every day, it'd be even better. But reality is like 8:30, right? But that's the thing, is it took me so long to do this. And I've been doing it for so long now. I've been doing it for over, 20 years almost. So it's the value of routine, but it also it takes a lot of effort. And I didn't really have someone to wake up with me at that time most of the time, right? I was doing it through school on my own for the most part. My sister tried to keep up with me, but it was too much for her most days. So what I'm saying is, I'm not necessarily saying you need to do it. I'm just saying the benefit of, if you're young and you have the motivation to do it, I mean, 5 years of your life, increasing your productivity by like 20-30% for the rest of your life. I mean, that's pretty good. Right?
okay.
But here's my thing to you, Chuck, is it would behoove your kids if you started helping them to be able to go to bed earlier.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Then they don't have to change from going to bed late to try and wake up early when they get older. From their childhood, their body will have been built in to go to bed earlier.
That's fair. Okay. Well, good points all around. I appreciate it, Dr. Jacob. Thanks.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, listeners, for listening, and viewers for watching. Have a good rest of your day.